I'm going to use the topic of advanced trigonometry. In the previous lesson on simple trigonometry, we only used a right angle triangle. If you remember, we used sa, ka, toa. But advanced trigonometry, it refers to any triangle. It does not have to be necessarily a right angle triangle. For example, I'm given a triangle. I'm told this measures 5 centimeters. This is 8 centimeters. And they're asking me to find the other length, the third length of the triangle. Of course, it all depends on how wide the angle between 5 and 8 is, how acute or how obtuse. So you can't find the value of x unless you know how apart these two arms or the two sides of the triangle are. So therefore, I tell you this angle is, for sake of argument, 120 degrees. Now, there are formulae for advanced trigonometry, but I rather you learn the concept rather than applying the formula to the question. Here I want to find the side x. So just like Pythagoras, when we wrote height squared equals side 1 squared plus side 2 squared, so we write x squared equals 5 squared plus 8 squared. Except the advanced trigonometry continues based on these two numbers. We minus 2 lots of 5 times 8 times the cos of the angle between 5 and 8, which is cos of 120. And this is why this is called the cosine rule. The cosine rule state that the side you want to find to the power of 2 equals the other two sides squared add together minus twice the multiplication of those two given sides times the cos of the angle between those two given sides. So once you understand this concept, you can apply it to any question. Again, I repeat, you want to find the value of x. So x squared equals 5 squared plus 8 squared minus 2 times 5 times 8 times the cos of the angle between 5 and 8. The question is really finished. All you have to do, enter that in the calculator and take square root. So here, you have 5 squared plus 8 squared minus 2 times 5 times 8 times cos of the angle between them, which is 120. Don't forget to close the bracket and make sure your calculator is in degree mode, and you press. That gives me x to the power of 2, which you need to take square root, which is 11.4 to 1 decimal place. Let's have another question. Say this angle, I don't know, 35 degrees. Say this side measures 8.1 meters and that measures 12.3 meters. And we want to find the size of the third side of the triangle. Well, you've got to make sure, if you want to find this side, the opposite angle to that side must be given, and the other two sides must be given. Otherwise, you cannot find the value of x. So the initial requirement is, if you want to find the side of an angle, the other two sides must be given, and the angle between those two sides also must be given. So to find the value of x, Same process, x squared equals the two other sides squared, add together 8.1 squared plus 12.3 squared, followed by minus 2 times 8.1 times 12.3 times the cos of the angle 35, which is the angle between them. Again, as before, you enter all that information in the calculator. So we have 8.1 squared plus 12.3 squared minus 2 times 8.1 times 12.3 times the cos of 35. This is x squared. Take square root of the answer. So the answer would be 7.3 to 7.3 to 1 decimal place. So x equals 7.3, 1 dp. Of course, the unit is meters. Just to prove to you that cosine rule applies to all types of triangle, including the right angle. Actually, some of my students don't use Pythagoras. They use cosine rule for all triangles. But we know if I give you a right angle triangle, 3, 4, the hypotenuse would be 5, won't it? Because hype squared, if I call this x squared equals 3 squared plus 4 squared. I'm using Pythagoras. X squared equals 9 plus 16. X squared equals 25. Take square root from both sides. X equals 5. Now, let me use cosine rule on that one. Using cosine rule. So x squared equals 3 squared plus 4 squared minus 2 times 3 times 4 times cos of the angle between them, which is 90 degrees. But cos of 90 degrees is 0. Or if you enter that in the calculator, it will give you x squared equals 9 plus 16, give you 25. And when you take square root, x would be 5. See, cos of 90 degrees is 0. So it makes this term here all to become 0. Because you're multiplying 2 times 3 times 4 times 0. Any number multiplied by 0 is 0. So this is how we find a length in a triangle when the other two sides are given and the angle between them also given. So we use cosine rule. That would be the end of this lesson regarding cosine rule. Of course, cosine rule has got another application where you're given the 3 sides and they ask you for any angle. I will do that in the next lesson. I hope you've enjoyed the use of cosine rule in order to find the side of any triangles given the other two sides and the angle between those two given sides. I hope you enjoyed your lesson. Until next lesson, bye now.